everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I have a fairly short for me, analysis of the information that came out today at the trial that I think has importance and what I think it means. So there's part 9. If you're new to my channel, please do like and subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get notified of more about this trial and for all the other things I do, because I do not focus just on one particular crime. I analyze many, many crimes. This is a criminal profiling channel, educational channel. So, all right. First, I want to start out with this because I've been bombarded with people telling me, did you watch this person's channel? Or you didn't know some piece of information. Are you actually putting in the hours to watch this? I'm like, no, I am not watching the entire, nobody can watch the trial. But I'm not watching somebody's entire channel so I can go through 6 hours of whatever notes they took. No, if you want to do that, that's fine. I am not going to do that. I'm just looking for the meat and not spending all the time on the minutia. But I have people out here who keep telling me to watch certain channels. And I want to comment on this because this has an effect on trials. It has an effect on juries. And I find it rather abominable. We saw it with the Karen Reed case where Turtle Boy needs to be, okay. I won't say that. I think I could get kicked off of YouTube. Turtle Boy, who is not such a nice turtle, has, in his minions, he calls himself a journalist, but he is not. He's a massive grifter. He lies about a whole bunch of stuff. I consider him to have a personality disorder of the nth degree. And yet he has gotten this huge bunch of people going out even into public, to the courthouse, harassing people, harassing the families, oh my God, because for some reason, this is allowed now in our society. So in that case, Karen Reed, there were cameras in the courtroom. And so you could spend every moment of your day going through everything that happened, and you can spin it any way you like. And this is what I want to talk about. This is the problem with a lot of YouTube channels. When they spin things, especially into conspiracy theories, oh, the government is completely corrupt, the rabbit holes you can go down forever. This is how you make a lot of money and get a huge audience. And so there are people who are not they're unscrupulous people. They will do this. And the problem is a whole lot of people are falling for it. Why do they fall for it? Well, it's like it's like anything you can get suckered into. It's like a timeshare. Oh my God, I'm gonna get a free gift and maybe a free night at such and such a place and a free dinner. And people go in and they listen to the spiel and they end up signing something that gets them a timeshare they can't get rid of. Why did they fall for it? Because the person who was selling it is a good salesperson. Now, I'm going to tell you, I suck as a salesperson. It's not my thing. I just analyze stuff. I educate. I say what I say. I'm not a salesperson. I'd make a lot more money if I was. And I'm not against people who are good salespeople and ethical. There are some people out there like, dang, you're doing it. Wow, you're making a fortune, but you're ethical. You're just good at sales. All right, bully for you. But there are a lot of people out there who are not ethical, grifters of the nth degree, and people are falling for it on every one of these major cases. So I want to point out 3 channels and tell you the differences between the 3 channels, just so you can start understanding and make better choices. I recommended Lawyerly. And some people said, oh, I don't think she's that good because she's more defense-oriented, whatever. I like the fact that she explained things very well and was very honest and open. I really thought she does a good job. I don't think of her as a grifter. I don't see that in her. I haven't seen everything she's done, and she might have a bias this way or that way. We're human beings. She's doing a YouTube show. She's not in the courtroom at the point she's doing the show, but she's helping people understand stuff. So I liked her, so I recommended her. Somebody else came along and recommended Andrea Burkhart. I went over to Andrea's channel and I wasn't pleased. Why? She clearly has a massive agenda for the defense and a massive agenda against the government. And she goes for whatever the government is conspiring against, whatever that defendant is, whether it be Karen Reed, whether it be Richard Allen, or whether it be the Idaho case. Oh my God, the government is corrupt, and they're taking down innocent people. She comes from such an agenda that I don't like it. I'm not going to call her a grifter because I don't think she's a grifter. I think she truly believes in what she does. I just find it hard to listen to her, and I find her way too biased. That's my opinion. But she's not a grifter. I'm not going to call her a grifter. However, massive grifter here. I was recommended this channel over and over again, and I have to speak up because I do speak up against grifters. True Crime Design. Oh my God. She has 80,000 subscribers. And this last one that I see here, right here, Delphi bombshell. Kelsey German's hair found in Abigail's hand. Busted. There's 28,000 views on that. She's not a million. She doesn't have a million subscribers and doesn't have a million views on everything. But she's doing very well. And I listened to part of it, and she is a massive conspiracy theorist. And she is saying the family of Libby, German, Kelsey, her sister, and a bunch of other people are all involved in killing the two girls. And this guy's totally innocent. And it's the things that she has put forth about the family is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And I've checked a bunch of other stuff she does. I think she's a 100% grifter, but she's a good salesperson. And if you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, she makes sense. You know what? You're being fooled. You're being fooled because people who like snake oil salesmen, they're good at what they do. And you can get sucked into it. This is why I say, please be careful of who you pay attention to, because she's a grifter. And the things she has done are hurtful and horrible in her YouTube. And I think she could have an influence on the public, which has an influence on the jury. Even if the jury doesn't see it, eventually the influence on the public, then they take that to the next level. Oh my God, and they start doing petitions, and then they get the Innocence Project involved. Even if the person's guilty, they don't care. They just in that rabbit hole. They're going with the conspiracy theory, and they like things that are massively complicated. And usually it's not that way. Usually if there's a problem, it's incompetence. It's things that weren't done perfectly because people were human beings and weren't well trained. Rarely is there a real massive conspiracy, although I'm not saying they never exist. They didn't exist in the Karen Reed case. They don't exist in this case. I see incompetence in this case, which is concerning to me, because I think this could end up causing this case to remain unsolved, or for Allen to get convicted but then get exonerated. And therefore the case will just, no one will ever be responsible for this crime in the long run. And the families will never get justice, and that'll be the way it works. I kind of think that's what's going to happen. But so this True Crime Design person, do not subscribe to her channel. I'm appalled. And so please do not, please do not put in the comments below, oh, Pat, I don't know why you don't like her. I don't like her because she's a grifter, okay? I will do my best to block you. I have no problem with blocking people who I do not think respect the fact that this is my channel, and I'm trying to give you an education and trying to be honest. And if you don't like it, maybe you need to be at another channel. If you want to go along with Grifter Lady and believe all kinds of conspiracy theories, I can't stop you. It's a free country. But I also don't want you on my channel, because I'm here for education and honesty. You may not always agree with what I say, and that's okay. I might not always be right, but at least I'm honest. Okay, so I just had to say that because it was very much upsetting to me. All right, as to what happened today. There were essentially, what we have is a lot of confessions by Richard Allen, which I think is the strongest day that has been in court for the prosecution. People were able to actually hear what he was saying. And there's a big difference between getting it secondhand, and still we outside of the courtroom are getting it secondhand. We aren't actually hearing his voice and hearing how he says it. But inside the courtroom, they're getting to hear this. And I think this is the best the prosecution has got along with that van thing, where he says he saw a white van and that's why he stopped doing what he did. And the van has interesting, good possibilities of being connected. It is still indirect evidence. It's still circumstantial evidence, but you can start putting some lines together and saying, why would he know about that van at that time? That's kind of good. Along with, yes, he was in the park. Yes, he did have similar clothes. And then, of course, there's a guy I think it was a jailer, came out and said, oh, his voice was definitely a bridge guy. Okay, that's your opinion. That isn't as good. Okay, we all can have opinions, and they're not necessarily provable just because we have an opinion. It looked like bridge guy. He sounded like bridge guy. I don't care how many people go through that. I don't think there's ever been any solid proof that he 100% can be proven to be bridge guy. But now you start to connect some dots in the park with the clothing, supposedly saying he saw the van. Now, supposedly he was not privy to the van information prior to him saying that. And if that is true, again, I'm not in the courtroom, so I'm hearing things, kind of third hand versus second hand, whatever hand, not first hand. I'm not there, so I wish I were there to actually understand this, but I'm not. So I'm just giving you an understanding of what works in the prosecution's favor. Now, I want to go through the things he said on some phone calls. And I think this is the most powerful thing that the prosecution has so far. Let me read some of them to you, because I think if you're on the jury and you're saying, what would a normal person do? Now, the defense is going to say he wasn't a normal person. He was already a depressed person. He was already suicidal. He was put into a horrific situation where he was tortured. Well, he wasn't tortured, but tortured because he was confined. He was not in general population. It was a miserable existence, which it quite frankly was. And so they're going to use that. However, he did these phone calls to his family, and I think this is the most important stuff. Not the stuff he said to the therapist, who I thought sucked. But anyway, Alan's mom said, Rick, and by the way, all the people who absolutely believe he's innocent now call him Rick. They're all on first name basis. Alan's mom said, Rick, don't talk like this. I think they're messing with you. I just know you don't have it in you to do something like that. Now, first of all, I don't know how many wives, children, mommies say that their child wouldn't do something that their child would definitely do. So her opinion is not really worth much. Alan then said, Mom, why would I tell you I did if I didn't? Wow, that's interesting. That's a good question. That's what the jury will be asking. Why would a guy tell his mother that he brutally killed 2 young girls if he didn't do it? I'm not even sure why he'd say it if he didn't do it. Well, why would he say it if he didn't do it? I pointed out last video, there are things that people will admit to. Having an affair, some bad things. But killing 2 young girls, slicing their throats, is not something a person who is not guilty or a normal person would be willing to admit to. Who admits to that? That's like the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. And you'd say that to your mom? If one of my sons said, Mom, I slashed these 2 girls' throats, I did kill them. That would probably be the last conversation I have with my son. I'm like, I'm done. Loved you once, don't love you so much now. I do not believe in unconditional love. I believe in, if you're a psycho, you're a psychopathic, maybe serial killer of 2 girls, I'm done with you. Unless I truly believe for some reason you've lost your damn mind. And Mom's saying, oh my God, you must have lost your damn mind because you can't believe what he's saying. But the jury is hearing him say to his mother, Mom, why would I tell you I didn't if I did if I didn't? And that is a damn fine question. So that's a check mark for the prosecution. And then he tells his wife, if this becomes too much for you, call the detectives and I'll tell them whatever they want to know. Now, that is not a confession to the crime. That's like you're being put through hell, and I'm willing to say anything just to stop this for you, if that's what works. On the other hand, he could be saying, I'll confess to what I actually did because I don't want to drag you through it. But you can go either way on that. Then another call to his wife, Kathy. Richard Allen says, I love you, and is crying. Sounds distraught. By the way, I want to point this out. Just if a person is a psychopath, they can say they love you when they, quite frankly, no psychopath loves anybody but himself. He could say that, doesn't mean anything. And that he's crying. Some psychopaths are really good at crying. So he either is not a psychopath, didn't kill the girls, and truly loves his wife and is crying, or he is a psychopath who's lying to his wife and crying to get effect. I love you and is crying and sounds distraught. He tells Kathy, I don't want you to worry about me. He said, well, I'm kind of in prison and up for killing 2 girls, so kind of too late for that. He says, I'm sorry 3 times while crying. He also says, I effed up. If anything happens, I'll see you in the next life. Take care of the family. Okay, I'm going to go back to that I effed up. In what way? So the prosecution is going to say, when he says I effed up, he effed up because he killed 2 innocent girls. The defense will say he effed up because he couldn't handle it and he confessed to something he didn't do. So they're going to be that. But the I effed up that's in the prosecution's favor. I'm going to say that. Then Harshman said, this is to his mother, Janice again. Alan confesses to killing Abby and Libby and tells his mother he has found Jesus in God. Okay. He tells his mother again he killed the girls, but he's found Jesus in God because he wants his family not to toss him into the gutter. And even if a person did commit the crime, they're serial killer type, they do like to have their family and friends and new girlfriends in the future from dating sites on prison, dating sites. They want them to believe that in spite of what happened, there's that other side to them, that the evil got a hold of them, but now good has come in. And if they accept Jesus, God, Allah, whatever you want to throw out there, then that is pushing the evil out of you. And everybody, this is what people say, who have soft hearts, everybody has a good part of them. We're human beings. We're not all just 100% evil or 100% good. So there's a person can be taken over by evil and do something terrible, but then because they opened their heart to Jesus, to God, to Allah, whatever, they're allowing good to come into them and wash away the evil. I respect the concept. My whole theory is this: when you commit evil in this life, you get to pay the penalty of evil, and you can take it up with God when you get there, and He will decide what to do with you. And if He says, you screwed up, but I see something in you, I leave. God can take care of it. I don't think we have to take care of it here on earth. It's not our job to determine how evil or good the person is. Our job is only to determine if what they did broke the law, to whatever extent it broke the law. So anyway, during the call, Alan initially sounds upbeat and positive and asks his mother if she's going to church that day. Alan then cries and asks his mother, did Kathy tell you I told her that I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior? He also says, I've got a family that's always going to love me no matter what. I know we're all going to be back together eventually. It depends whether your family's up there and you're down there. But okay, so then the other call. We have, let's see. On Thursday morning, jurors heard a number of calls from Richard Allen to his wife in which he calmly said that he killed Abby and Libby. Honey, I did it. It's really interesting. He starts out with, honey, I did it, honey. And when somebody calls me honey, I don't want to hear the next thing is I killed 2 girls. I want, honey, I love you. Honey, I want to be there for your birthday. Honey, I want to spend time with you, but not honey, I killed 2 girls. The honey thing is kind of creepy. And it's a lead in which says, soften your heart toward me because I called you honey. Honey, I did it. I killed Abby and Libby. Kathy Allen repeated to her husband for him not to say that, but he continued to state he killed the girls in the call. So he's doubling down on it. Why is he so insistent that she has to know that he killed the girls? And that's up for debate. But it certainly is, again, prosecution favor. All right. Let's see. I need to tell you something anyway, Alan said to his wife, which she responded, are you sure you want to talk to me over the phone? Which she knows is going to be, that's going to be taped. I think I need to. And also, Alan knows it's going to be taped. So he's doing this and he knows it's on tape. I need you to know that I did this. What? There's no way, Kathy responded. You are not well. So you don't need to say you did something you didn't do. Alan then says, again in this call, I have to let you know that I did it. He, again, doubling down. I did it. I did it. I did it. Why is he doing that if he didn't do it? All right, last one here. Alan said to his wife on another call, as she can be heard crying, I don't understand. I just got to know everybody is still going to love me. Oh, everybody's still going to love you even though it kills people. No, you need to know that. If I kill people, I'm pretty much sure that y'all should boot me to the curb. I pretty much know that you should want to have nothing to do with me ever again. The fact that he thinks people should still love him, in spite of the fact he's a brutal murderer of young children, hell. Okay. Alan confesses to the crimes again in this call. It's okay, honey. It's okay, honey. I did it. I did it, baby. Oh, I'm kind of not trying to throw up. Alan can be heard telling his wife, I killed Abby and Libby. Alan is then heard asking his wife if she is always going to love him with her crying and saying, I love you. Oh, Lord God. I'm going to say this. Either he really didn't do it, and she's that wife that will stand by him in spite of knowing that, just totally believing he didn't do it, he's lost his mind, or she's one of those wives who will stand by a guy who is a criminal, who is a killer, who is a psychopath, because he knows she'll stay there. Because I want to point this out. A lot of times when serial killers marry somebody, they pick the woman that they know is never going to cause them too much trouble. The woman who is a sucker, the woman who is naive, the woman who has got too much of a soft heart. And that they're going to pick that person because they can manipulate that person. I guarantee you, serial killer is not going to pick me because they can't manipulate me. But they will find a woman, and a woman will find a guy, or guys will find guys, and women will find women. Whoever they pick for their partner. If they're psychopathic, they're going to pick somebody they can manipulate. If you remember, if you just go like a Sherry Papini case, for example, I called her husband a dolt. I call a lot of husbands of women who have Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome is just a behavior of psychopathy. And she's a psychopath. Sherry Papini is a psychopath. She found a guy she could manipulate. He finally it does appear he finally got wise after everything. But he put up with a lot of stuff, and she knew he would. So if he's a psychopath, he's found a wife who he knows he can manipulate and probably has manipulated for a couple of decades. And so he can continue with his manipulation now. And he's got his reasons for doing what he's doing. Now, if he's innocent, then he's got a wife who absolutely knows that he could not have committed this crime, in spite of the fact that he's claiming it over and over and over again. He's saying, I did it, I did it, I did it. She thinks he's really lost his damn mind. Okay. Senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel noted Alan sounds depressed in this call. Oh, well, I love how people say that. I'm really depressed. And noting it is a very quiet call. In the end, Alan talks about losing his mind and ends the call with, but you know that I've done it, right? So, the prosecution, when I said what's going to save the prosecution's case and where the prosecution is going to have a chance to get the jury to convict him, it was going to come down to the confessions, which were so many of. And as we see now, he wouldn't shut the hell up over and over and over again. Mommy, I did it. Honey, I did it. Mommy, I did it. Honey, I did it. Days. I'm not even sure what his attorneys were involved in any of this. But anyway, he before he got arrested, He denied some stuff. He said it was all over, but it was probably because, as the defense would say, it's because basically the police came in and trashed his name to all the neighbors and made him a child killer. So his life was screwed anyway. And I agree that could be the reason he said it's over. So he just gave up. But he didn't have to, in prison, tell his whole his family over and over again he killed 2 girls. It's very interesting. So why is he doing that? Either because he really is guilty. It's not because he would feel guilt. Guilty psychopaths don't feel guilt. They manipulate. So if he's guilty, he's come to the conclusion he's going to manipulate for some reason. And I can't get into his head as to exactly why he's doing whatever he's doing. Whether he wants to make sure his family's still there after he gets convicted. Who knows? Maybe the defense could be in on, hey, just confess all over the place, and then what we're gonna do is you're gonna have you confess a lot till it sounds ridiculous, and then that will get you. It will make you look insane, and they don't have enough other evidence, so the jury will be confused and not find you not guilty. But even if it finds you guilty, no worries. The appeal will trash this case because the police did a poor job, and then that doesn't work. Some progressive DA will come out and say he was unfairly treated, and the Innocence Project will roll in, and he will get out anyway and get a big, huge payday from the state. Is that what's going on? I don't know. But as this week is coming to a close, Friday's tomorrow, I would say the prosecution has a much stronger case from those confessions than they did with just, you look like the guy. That's not good enough. He wore some clothes like the guy. That's not good enough. Or some guy says his voice sounds like, no, that's not good enough. The bullet had some interesting things. They couldn't prove it well enough, in my opinion, but that does give you some indirect evidence that you think you can say, what are the chances of it not being his gun and it not being his bullet when his gun and the gun is the kind of gun and the ammo is the exact ammo? What are the chances? And he was in the park. So the inference is really good, but not superb. Now, the van thing has added a little bit of good indirect evidence, good circumstantial evidence to the case. So that and these confessions, which the jury is actually hearing, might push them to find him guilty. Again, I think the case has great chance of getting screwed in the future. If he's found guilty and is guilty, as I just said, I think the appeal process and the progressive DAs and the Innocence Project will all roll through, and eventually he'll get out. That would be, I'm not going to bet on it because I don't like losing money, but I would just say, if I had to bet on it, that's what I would say is going to happen in the future. And we'll see if I'm right or wrong, depending on what happens in this case. I still think out of 12 people, 1 or 2 of them may be convinced that he is absolutely just out of his damn mind and is saying stuff that's nonsensical, and there's not enough physical evidence to make him prove that he's the killer of the 2 girls. So I think he may still be found not guilty. But if he is found guilty, it would be because these confessions did help push that jury in that direction. So those are my thoughts for today. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Yes, let's see what tomorrow brings. And again, if you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. And please do not go over to the grifter channels. And it's not so much that they're going to take advantage. They're going to take advantage of you and sucker you in and all this stuff. But I don't like to see people being misled. Don't go to channels where you're going to be fooled into stuff. And because that's going to become a part of your life, like you're just obsessed with it. If you're obsessed with this case, you want to step back. A lot of people are obsessed with this case. And I'm like, hey, stop it. Stop it. Why are you so obsessed with this case? Unless you know the family and you know Alan. You don't even live in the freaking area. Stop being that obsessed. There's a lot of injustice in the world. This isn't the only case. There's tons of cases where things are problematic or the justice isn't served. And if you look around the world, there's people every day suffering injustice, in war, just in poverty, in crime in general. So don't get over obsessed with something where you make this your life, for God's sakes. If you're not part of these people and you have no influence, you can be interested. I'm interested, but I'm not obsessed. I have a life here and I have a community and a family and friends. Please Make sure that that's part of your life and you're not sitting on the internet listening to grifters 8 hours a day. Just recommending that for your own mental health and well-being. So anyway, thank you for being here, and I might be back tomorrow. Bye.